Welcome to the Time to Thrive podcast, developed and sponsored by the Thrive Ladies Ministry of Central Baptist Church in Kannapolis, North Carolina. Come with us as we dive deep into the life stories and experiences of Christian women. Meet amazing women writers from our very own Central Baptist Church magazine, Come and See. Join us as Aleah and Anna discover how God has moved in the lives of these women and how circumstances permanently change their lives. Whether you're driving, working, or relaxing, we're glad you joined us today. And now, it's time to thrive.
Hello, Thrive ladies. It is Aleah and Anna, ready to help you start your week off right with the Time to Thrive podcast.
So hello, everyone. So today we are here with Miss Jeanie Fisher, and we're going to dive into her article in a little bit. But first of all, we would like to ask you, Miss Jeanie, just give a brief introduction about yourself so everyone can get to know you a little bit.
Okay. I'm mainly known by Grandma instead of Miss Jeanie, but whatever. I answer to most everything. I have been a widow for 9 years. I have 4 children, 10 grandchildren.
Oh, wow.
And 2 great-grandchildren.
Wow.
I retired from Rowan Salisbury Schools after 30 years, and believe me, I was ready to walk out the door. And I've been in charge of the Central Baptist Church Food Pantry since 2015.
Oh, I love that. Okay, back in 2017, you wrote an article called My Do-Over. In that article, you said, "My thoughts were if you had to do it over, it must have not been done right the first time. Needless to say, I was wrong. As I began my do-over, I prayed and prayed for God to show me what He wanted me to do."
So now that we have a preview of your article, let's talk a little bit more in depth about it and get into that. So first question that we have for you is, why do you think God laid this message on your heart to share?
Well, I know I'm not the only one to have gone through a major crisis in my life where absolutely my life was turned upside down, but I was never alone. God was always right there with me. I had wonderful family support. I had church support. And God was always by my side. He led me through everything. He guided me through everything, and I just wanted to help others. I will tell you girls this. I felt like after I became a widow, I owed every other widow an apology for not praying for them, because until you go through something like that, you cannot imagine. And so I thought I had been there, I had done that, and if I could just help somebody else, that's what I wanted to do.
No, absolutely. That's awesome.
Okay. The next question that we have for you is, did being confined and not being able to attend church give you a deeper love for service in the church community as a whole?
Oh, my goodness, yes. Back in the day, we were provided with DVDs. There was no such thing as live streaming at the time. And DVDs were great, and it kept us in touch with, and hearing the message and everything, but nothing takes the place of in-person worship with other Christians, and nothing takes the place of being able to serve.
Yeah, absolutely. When I read your article and you said DVDs, for a second I went, wait a second.
What is that?
I know. I was like, wait, we had DVDs? I'm like, I totally forgot that we had DVDs. No, that's so good. And also, like, with going through COVID and everything, like, that time, like, you had already, like, experienced like that where you couldn't be with your church family. And so now that people have it, I hear people all the time that, like you said, you don't know what it's like until you go through it. And it's like, we take things for granted, and when we're actually in it, we step back, and like I'm so glad that I'm able to have this church community. Like, it just connects us. So that's awesome that you went through that, and even now, I feel like a lot of us know that now, and
Absolutely.
Just being around people who are like you, like-minded, is so encouraging just to continue your walk in Christ.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you agree that being a 24/7 caregiver for your husband impacted the way you serve and see people now?
Yes, I'm certainly more patient. I am more tolerant, and I am less judgmental. Because till you walk in someone's shoes, you just never know what they're going through. We had always been very active in church. We had always served in various capacities. And not being able to attend, much less even serve, that was hard on both of us, and it was quite an adjustment.
Yeah. And with the food pantry that you do, I know there's all different types of people who come in there and that you see. Does it give you more of a, well, you said patience, but more of a, I don't know, like a, what is that called?
Love.
Yes, basically, yeah. Seeing these people, and it's like, I don't know what they're going through, because I feel like a lot of people, someone might have a hard day, and it's, oh, they're just a mean person. But then when you go through certain things, or you experience things yourself, it's like when people are kind to me and I was struggling with something at the same time, it's like they didn't look, like they looked past that. And so I feel like seeing the people in the food pantry, it's like we don't know what they're going through, and still being that love and that kindness because you don't know what people go through.
Exactly. Can I share a story?
Oh, absolutely.
There was a lady came through. It was when the pantry was open, the house was open, and she was totally broken. I'm totally broken. And she explained that her husband had left her. She was losing her house. She had never worked. She had been a stay-at-home mom. She was devastated, and she could not believe that she had to come get food stamps. She cried. I cried. I prayed with her, and I just felt led to take her address home with me, and I wrote her a card and sent it. And she didn't come back for about 2 months, and she said, I was at the end of my rope, and I got your card.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
And it's just things like that. Pantry's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful for me, anyway.
Oh, that is awesome.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's exactly what.
Yes, no, that is
that's
awesome.
exactly what we want. Just like the little things, like just a simple card.
Yeah.
It's like so amazing how much encouraging that is to like other people. Like you could not even know what they're going through. And
Yeah.
if you just like give them a little card and it's
Absolutely.
like, oh,
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
like I'm praying for you. Like I hear people say all the time, like don't just say that you're praying for someone. Like actually pray for them.
Yeah.
And do it then.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you don't forget.
That's what I started to say. You girls are young. You would probably remember. I'm not.
Oh, no, I forget so often.
I write things on my calendar all the time.
Yes.
Especially like when someone's having surgery or something. I'll write it so I'll remember.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. No,
Absolutely
that's good. I
fine.
have a to-do list on my phone. And I always look at it at the end of the day to make sure I did everything. I forget it. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. I'm 19.
Aren't you the one
and I'm
that
already
started
forgetting.
the reminders on your phone? You have the reminders app, and it'll like
Yes.
pop up like as a notification. Pray for
Yes,
so
and Bailey does too. My friend
now,
Bailey has
yeah,
that.
I think I had that for a while. Where I just get little messages like,
Yeah.
pray for.
No, but that's so good. Like, I feel like a lot of people can just put on a smile and go about their day. But then when someone actually shows them kindness, it kind of just, I don't know, like pierces
little
their
deeper.
heart. It
Yeah.
does.
Absolutely.
Because they don't know what they went through. And it's like this person still went out of their way to pray for me or to give me a card. Like even just something as simple as a card because I think it's the fact that you took the time. Exactly, and you wrote it. Like, a text is good, but even people who have given me cards, I'm like, oh, my goodness. Like, they sat down and thought about what they're going to write.
And wrote it out.
Yeah, so it's like the little
Absolutely.
things matter. And when you were with your husband and going through all that situation, I'm sure you had people also who reached out, and I'm sure that touched because they didn't know the whole situation, but yet they still reached out and was like, I'm praying for
Cared.
you. Yes.
That's
yes. No, that's amazing.
So, would you say that as Christians, we will experience many do-overs in life, but clinging to God, seeking Him, and fully surrendering to Him is what will help us through them?
Well, I think everyone experiences crisis. I think there's different levels, but it's part of life. For instance, a crisis for you girls may be, gee, nobody asked me to the prom.
Yeah.
You know, that's not a crisis for me. It hasn't been for a long, long time. And even though there's different degrees, a crisis is a crisis. And no matter what, God's with you. And you can stand on his promises. He's our rock. And you can stand on his promises and know that he's there. Going through years and years and years of disability, which we did, we learned to lean on each other, but we learned to lean on God and God's promises. And he never failed us. Never.
I think I've had about 2 do-overs in my life so far.
Really?
Yeah.
Would you like to elaborate?
Sure. My first one was when I got in my car accident. I flipped my car 3 times. Well, 2.5 times. And it was a really hard time. Just because I had my sister in the car with me. So it was really difficult for me to get past what I had did, kind of. So that was one of my do-overs. And then I think just graduating high school. It's a whole different life after you graduate high school. I mean, it's not really that different, but not knowing what you want to do with your life, you're like, fresh start. I could do anything I possibly want right now. But what does God want me to do with that?
Exactly. And like at the beginning when you said, when Aleah read it, I prayed and prayed for God to show me what he wanted me to do. Because I feel like when we have all that freedom, it's, what do I do with it? Like, I want to serve, I want to minister, but how, like, where do you want me, God? How can I use my gifts? And I think praying and just being in a constant state of prayer, like, I've heard that my whole life, and I think I'm just now understanding it, because just like you said, when you say you're going to pray for someone, like, do it then.
Right.
Like, you don't have to, I feel like my mindset was I have to be at church, and that's the only time I can pray, or by my bedside, like, I have to stop everything I'm doing and just pray. And it's like, I can be in my car. I can be, like, wake up in the middle of the night. I can be sitting somewhere and someone's telling me something. I can be praying for them while they're telling me something. Like, it's so amazing. And God really works through that because you're talking to God, and he opens these doors. Even just with me graduating high school, it's like, oh, my goodness. Like you said, it's a crisis will be like, oh, he's not taking me to prom or something. And I love it that we have women, like everyone who comes on here, it's like, I'm so glad that we have these women that we can talk to because they've been through so many things in life. And we always know, like, since they've gone through this and they've seen Christ in it and he's grown them, like, they know that they can encourage girls who we haven't gone through anything like that. So that's an amazing.
My crisis is not your crisis, in other words.
Yeah.
But I have another story.
Yes, tell.
When I was praying for God to show me what he wanted me to do, not what I wanted to do, what he wanted me to do, I was approached by another lady in the church, and she said, I'd like for you to come help me with so-and-so. I said, well, I need to pray about it. I never got an okay from God. I promise you I did not. And so I went back to that person. I said, I'm sorry, that's just not the job for me. Wasn't very long after that Pastor Dean, and he wasn't Pastor Dean then, he was Youth Pastor Dean, called me and he said, can you come in and talk to me? Well, gee, that's like being called to the principal's office.
Yes.
You automatically think, what did I do wrong? But I said, okay. And I came to see him, and he said, I'd like to have the food pantry started back, and I want you to be over it. Girls, I didn't even have to pray about it because it was like a light bulb going off in my head. That I knew that was exactly what God wanted me to do. And I told him, I said, oh, wow. That's an answer to me.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And I didn't question it. And how many years has it been since?
Yeah.
That's
a long time since 2015.
Yeah.
No, that's incredible.
And I'm still plugging in there.
Yes. No, I love
that. Okay, I have one more thing to say. She said that her crisis is not our crisis. And you know what popped in my mind when she said that? You know that song where it says something about, like, I may not face Goliath, but I've got my own giant, is what the song says.
No, that's good.
Anyways, that's just what I thought about when she said that.
Yeah.
Because when it was so crazy that I was, like, on the way here, and I really haven't, like, actually listened to the words of this song, but that part's really sad. My problems may not look as big of giants as yours.
But to you, it is.
Mhm,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah. Very last question, and this one's always hard for everyone because it says, if you had to summarize what we've talked about into one sentence or a few to encourage the women and everyone listening, what would that be?
So it doesn't have to be a run-on
It
sentence.
does not. It does not.
Okay, I would say never give up because God's always with us. And gives us promises throughout the entire Bible. Old Testament, New Testament, we have promises. And he's in control. He owns it all. It all belongs to him. He's in control. And we have to learn to depend on him and not on ourselves.
Where it says in Matthew 7, where seek and ye shall find me, that's really prominent, I feel like, to me right now, is going back to the constant state of prayer. I feel like since I've just graduated high school and everything, I'm trying to, as much as I can, learn from women like you and Mama and Miss Angie, which is Aleah's mother, and everyone, because I know that they're like warriors, like they really are, like in Christ, and they've seen Christ like move, and I want to have like, and I know Aleah does too, have that same confidence in Christ. And I know it's not easy through those battles, but having like seeking him through it, like even though we're going through something, still seeking him and saying like, Christ, I know like it's not easy right now, but then you have a plan, just like you did, like you knew, like I'm sure you did, like God was working all this for his good. And then when it was right at your do-over, it's like, okay, God, what do you want me to do? Like you didn't lose hope. It was still, God, I know you have a plan for me, like show me. And so then you prayed and you seeked it, and now you're doing this amazing ministry. Like it's really encouraging to girls like us. Like we just love hearing stories like that. Very good.
I think just hearing other women and just adults in general, like going through hard times, especially for us now going on, like us trying to figure out life, it's encouraging to hear other women, even in their hard times, what God did.
Yeah.
Just from that hard time that we might see as a hard time, how God used that to make this beautiful story. So it like encourages me, and I'm sure a lot of other young women, just encouraging them like in their crisis, in the giants that they are facing.
Yeah, exactly.
That is going to become a beautiful story that God has made.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
In him all things are made.
So
Romans.
I just want to thank you, because I know like none of that is easy. I mean, I've never been placed in any of those situations, but the fact that you went through that and then you're able to share it with girls like us, like you're able and you're open and you want to share it, like that's encouraging. And I know the people listening definitely will be encouraged by that too.
I certainly hope so.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All righty. I just want to thank you, since you said you will go by anything. Thank you, Grandma, for coming out and spending your time with us and sharing your story.
Well, thank you for asking me. I've enjoyed it. You girls are super.
Oh, thanks. We get a little sidetracked sometimes, but other than that, we're good. And, of course, we want to thank all the listeners, everyone who is listening today. We hope you enjoyed it, and make sure next time to get in touch with our next episode that comes out. So we hope all of y'all have a wonderful day, week, year, month, and we will talk to y'all next time. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Time to Thrive podcast. We hope you are encouraged and inspired to thrive in your daily walk with God. To find out more about the Thrive Ladies Ministry, check out our Instagram and Facebook pages or visit our website.